my attorney made arguments as to why I shouldn't be sentenced to the max. As a matter of fact, she thought I should be sentenced to, if anything, the minimum, as we were going to appeal it. I ended up being sentenced to...
Welcome back to my corner of the internet, guys. I am the Lucid Dream, and today we have the results of Craig Hendry's sentencing hearing. Now, if you remember very recently, Hendry was convicted by a jury of his peers of felony stalking and harassment via phone call. Essentially, what happened is because of his videos and because of his actions, his subscribers called in to these government agencies, harassing them and making threats. Hendry was held accountable for that. We're going to go ahead and get into it, but first and foremost, I want to thank every single one of my channel members and subscribers. This channel has officially hit 10,000 subscribers, and I really cannot thank you all enough. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Let's go ahead and get into this.
Hello, everybody. This is Craig Hendry, political prisoner reporting from the Vermilion County Jail in Indiana. I have been persecuted for the charge of stalking and harassment, both of which I did not commit. They say that I stalked and harassed employees of the city of Clinton, Indiana, by going into public buildings, asking questions, recording my interactions, and publishing those to YouTube along with public phone numbers. What I'm about to read to you is my statement that I made in the courtroom right before I was sentenced, and then I'm going to get into what I was sentenced to. This is my statement. This whole ordeal is a clear indicator of the state of government in this once great country. George Orwell would surely blush if he saw how accurate his predictions for the future were. The actions I was persecuted for are as follows: entering public buildings and places, asking questions of government employees and officials, making crude statements on occasion, recording my experiences, and occasionally posting these recordings to the internet with the phone numbers for the public offices I visited. I did all of the above with a cheery, non-threatening demeanor and never once communicated a threat to anybody. Let it be noted that the individuals I recorded in public had no reasonable expectation of privacy. This is according to Katz versus the United States, 389 U.S. at 351. Quote, "What a person knowingly exposes to the public is not subject to a Fourth Amendment protection." Unquote. Every time I uploaded a person's likeness to the internet, that person had knowingly exposed themselves to the public. Likewise, with any phone number I published previously exposed to the public by the very same people who initiated this ordeal. It is clear that under the precedent set by Katz, I violated nobody's privacy rights. The charges brought against me in this ordeal imply that I took actions that terrorized or otherwise threatened people. At no time did I issue a threat. At no time did I issue a directive to any other person to issue a threat. And at no time did I work with another individual to produce a threat against anybody else. Indeed, this point was conceded by all witnesses called against me and asked about it, the point that I never issued a threat. My peaceful actions have been exactly that, peaceful in nature. In stark contrast, the actions taken against me have been violent, aggressive, and have consisted of threat after threat, all of which have been carried out against me. These actions include apprehending me against my will on 4 separate occasions, holding me for ransom on 2 of those occasions, threats of further captivity if I did not urinate in front of people or stay away from public buildings, which I helped pay for. These threats materialized in me being captured against my will again. I referenced George Orwell earlier. It is at the fact that the government's coercive and violent acts are considered justice, yet my peaceful actions and use of words are considered a crime that he would surely blush. I have not provoked or reciprocated the government's employment of these threats or violent actions. I will not come in here and ask for mercy. I will not act as though my peaceful actions have warranted such a violent response. I sincerely hope that those operating in a public capacity here today do not operate under the delusion that the actions they have taken up to this point the actions they will take hereafter were provoked or warranted by my peaceful actions. The responsibility for their actions does not fall at my feet. The responsibility will be, and always has been, their own. I expect to be treated as every other person who is perceived as an opponent of the government has been treated. I expect the government to do their worst. I will end this statement by expounding on its beginning. With regards to the state of the government in this country, the government has shown their willingness to employ violence and coercion against me for acting in a peaceful manner. The standard with which we judge people's actions does not differ simply by virtue of those people working for the government. This was proven by the trials in Nuremberg in the early 1950s. Judging the actions of the government actors in this ordeal, the actions of employing these violent measures against myself, a reasonable person can only conclude that those people operate without regards for ethics, morals, or an objective standard of justice. It is clear they believe not in the principle of all men being created equal. For if any other man, not in the employ of the government, acted as they have throughout this ordeal, that man would be viewed as he rightly should be, a thug, willing to employ any violent means to achieve his desired end. This is the current state of our government. A group of men willing to employ violent means against peaceful individuals to achieve whatever ends they desire. God bless you all. This concludes my statement. After I read that off, the prosecutor, Bruce Ackerman, made arguments as to why I should not be sentenced to a term of probation after being found guilty of these crimes. He indicated that he thought I didn't live in reality by acknowledging that I had been found guilty after a trial, which, of course, I acknowledge I've been found guilty after a trial. And that's why I mentioned George Orwell in my statement, but I'm sure he hasn't read that, or read George Orwell for that matter. But after that, my attorney made arguments as to why I shouldn't be sentenced to the max. As a matter of fact, she thought I should be sentenced to, if anything, the minimum, as we were going to appeal it. I ended up being sentenced to 548 days in the Indiana Department of Corrections, which is the prison system here in Indiana. That term began when I first was incarcerated, and I've got 79 days of credit time. Ultimately, if all goes well, I should be out in 6 months, because on a level 6 felony, you get 2 days credit for every 1 day served. So essentially, I'll do half of that time. In the meantime, we are still trying to get an appeal going, and I am trying to secure the services of a private appellate attorney, which in Indiana is very hard to come by. We're not a very big state or a very well-populated state, and therefore the amount of appeals that happen every year are quite slim compared to a state like Texas or a state like California. So it is a little bit more difficult for an attorney to make a profession of solely appellate matters, but I am trying to find one right now. With your help, I'll be able to secure them. The donation links for that fund will be in the description below. I believe we have a GoFundMe going on. I also have PayPal and Cash App for people who don't like GoFundMe. I know that after what they did to the Canadian truckers, there's a lot of people that don't like GoFundMe, and for good reason. But with that being said, everybody, I appreciate your support. I appreciate all the donations we got since the pre-sentencing update that we put out yesterday, or perhaps 2 days ago by the time this video gets out to you. But, yeah, you know, at court, we had the entire city of Clinton, the whole of the employees of the city of Clinton. They showed up to watch me get sentenced. And I don't know what they expected to see after I delivered my statement. They all wouldn't look at me in the eyes. But God bless them. I mean, I think they know not what they do. I just think that they've been brainwashed, and that it's really, really a sad thing what they're doing to me, even though I've not reciprocated in any way whatsoever. With that being said, I am saying goodbye to my family for the next 6 months or 6.5 months. That includes my immediate family as well as the family I have created for myself, me and Erica have created. And I believe that you have heard a short message from her, or you will. But with that being said, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for paying attention to this ordeal. It is an awful ordeal, and it shows exactly what the state of the or anybody's property. So with that being said, I appreciate all your support. Thank you to Tyler for getting this edited. Thank you to my brother for helping me record this. And thank you to Erica for so strongly looking after my kids while I am gone.
I will be keeping an eye on this as time progresses. We'll see if he actually files an appeal. I don't know that he's going to raise enough money to actually do it, at least by the time he is out of jail. So if he serves 6 months, if what he says is true and you get 2 for every 1, I guess we will be seeing him in 6 months. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you would like to see, and I will catch you on the next one.